Hello, boys and girls. Today we are going to work on an ELA lesson. We are going to take a look at one of our focus skills, and we're also going to listen to the story decks again. So we'll go ahead and get started first off with the focus skill. So this week we're working on prefixes. So if you take a look at my screen right here, it says a prefix is a word part attached at the beginning of a base word or root word that adds to the meaning of the word. And we've talked about prefixes before. Today we're going to talk about the prefix over, but we worked a lot with re, un, and pre while we were in school. So like a pre-test is a test you take before. If you have to retake something, you have to take it again. And undo. If I'm going to undo my shoelace, untie is another one. Okay, so let's take a look. Oops, sorry about that. At the next slide here. So, how can you figure out the meaning of a prefix? Well, we know we can break words apart into smaller pieces. We know how to do that. If you're having trouble doing that, you can use the context clues. So in a sentence, if I said, I overlooked problem number 2 on the test and got it wrong, I could use got it wrong to sort of figure out what overlooked means. Overlooked means I missed that question. So you could use context clues. The prefix is at the beginning of the word. Okay, we've talked about suffixes too. They're at the end of the word, but the prefix is at the beginning of the word. So it's the first few letters that make up that beginning sound of the word. The rest of the word after the prefix is called either the base word or the root word. You can call it either one. So this week we're looking at the prefix over. Over means above or beyond. I always think of Buzz Lightyear. Over can also mean having too much or too many of something. So our first example is the sentence, Jack overcooked the cake and it came out of the oven all black. So you look at the picture down here, it's a cake that has been overcooked. So overcooked is the prefix. Well, the prefix is over, but the whole word, the prefix and the root word, and we have the ed ending too. So what does overcooked mean in this sentence? It means that you cooked the cake too long. And that, I'm sure, has happened to your families. Sometimes you just get distracted and a cake overcooks. If you look at our next sentence, this one is for all you sports fans. The word is overcrowded. So the sentence reads, the stadium was overcrowded. So the prefix in this sentence is overcrowded. The meaning is the stadium was too crowded. Look at all of those people in that stadium. It had too many people in it. So the prefix again is over, the root word is crowd, and the ending is ed. So you have 2 assignments that go with this today. The first assignment is your practice page for your vocabulary strategy, and you're working with the prefix over, just like in this lesson. If you look here, I can read you all of your choices. I'm going to say, I want you to say after me, overcook, oversized, overcrowded, overjoyed, overpaid, overslept. So what they want you to do is write the letter of the word that matches the definition on the line. Let's look at the first one. The first one says, to pay too much. I want you to think to yourself, if I went to the store and bought something and I came home and showed my parents and they said, you paid too much for that, Mrs. Vasquez, what prefix of over could I use instead of saying that really big sentence? Instead of saying, you paid too much for that, they could say this word. I think they would tell me that I overpaid. So what I would do is take my pen, and I can even write a letter in here. Overpaid is letter E. So here I'm going to put letter E for my answer. If that's too hard to do and it's easier for you to write the word over here, you can go ahead and do that too. Okay, that's assignment number 1. Once you get done with that, you can slide on down to assignment number 2. This one's a little trickier. You're using those same words as the first assignment, only this time you're making 2nd grade sentences. So we want to start with a capital letter, and we want to use our correct end marks at the end. I'm going to read your words to you. I'm going to say them. I want you to say them. Overcook, overflow, overload, overslept, overcrowded, overpay. So we're going to do the example together of overpay since that's the example we did in the first one. So if Mrs. Vasquez comes down to number 6, my example is, my mom told me not to overpay for the candy bar. So you can see that my sentence starts with a capital letter. I have who is in the sentence. There's a couple who's. It's my mom and me. I have the prefix over, the whole word, overpay. And then I have what she didn't want me to overpay for was the candy bar. So you're going to go ahead. You can use mine for number 6 because we always do an example together, but you need to come up with your own sentences for 1 through 5. When you get done with that, the very next thing you're going to do is our read aloud. And we already listened to this last week, but we're going to listen to it again. So the read aloud is Dex, the Heart of a Hero. When you are doing the read aloud this week, please try to remember about our essential question. What makes someone a hero? So when you're listening to the story, think of the character traits that Dex has that makes him a hero, and try to think of somebody in your life that you know that also could be a hero. And I'm going to get a new share up here now. I'm going to share the story with you. So get ready to listen to Dex, the Heart of a Hero.
Dex, the Heart of a Hero by Carolyn Buhner. Illustrated by Mark Buhner. Dexter was a little dog. His legs were little, his tail was little, his body was little. He looked like a plump sausage sitting on 4 little meatballs. Being the size that he was, Dex was often overlooked. The other dogs grew tired of waiting for Dex to catch up when they played chase, and after a while, they forgot to invite him at all. No one really seemed to notice him, except when Clevis, the tomcat, demonstrated how he could stand right over Dex and not even ruffle his fur. Yes, everything about Dex was little, except for his dreams. He wanted to be a hero. He could just see it. The mighty Dex flew up into the dark and starry night. But wanting and being are 2 different things. Dex lived on dreams until one day, after crawling out from under Clevis yet again, he decided there had to be more to life than gazing at the underside of a cat. There had to be more to him. If he could be a hero, he would. So Dex started training. He read every superhero comic book he could find. He watched every hero movie ever made. He went to the library. Furiously, he studied, knowing everything depended on him. Dex figured that a hero must have strong muscles. He needed exercise and lots of it. Dex started trotting to the corner and back every morning. He hopped over every crack in the sidewalk. He struggled to climb the garbage pile, up and over and down, then up and over and down again. All day long, he worked, day after day. Even at bedtime, when he wanted to flop on the rug with his tongue hanging out, Dex forced himself to circle 5 extra times. The mighty Dex pressed on through wind and rain and storm and fatigue. When it got easier to run to the corner and back, Dex did it again, and then again. Then he dragged a sock filled with sand as he ran, and then 2 socks. When Clevis was bored and stood in the middle of the sidewalk to block his way, Dex dropped to the ground and slid right under him. He was too busy to be bothered by Clevis. Dex was tired. He was sore. He was working so hard that he almost forgot what he was working for. But one night, as he dragged himself to bed after his last set of push-ups, Dex stopped in front of the mirror and flexed. He could feel them. He could see them. Muscles! Now Dex didn't take the stairs. He skimmed them. He leaped over hydrants. He vaulted up curbs. He could jump over the garbage mountain without touching the top. He could run like the wind. He felt as if his legs had springs. Faster than a rolling ball, stronger than the toughest rawhide, able to leap tall fences in a single bound. Only one thing was missing. Finally, a small brown package arrived. Dex ripped it open. His hero suit! It was red with a shiny green cape, and it fit just like a glove. Dex loved the way it felt. He loved the way it looked, and he loved the feeling he had when he put it on. He was ready. With the courage of a lion, the strength of a bear, and the heart of a hero. When Dex went out in his suit for the very first time, he looked up the street and down. He noticed a young pup trying to cross the street. Dex sprang into action. "May I help you?" he asked. He guided the wide-eyed pup across the street and grinned as the pup stared up at him with his mouth hanging open. The pup whispered, "Wow, it's Superdog." Superdog. Dex liked the sound of that. Of course, when Clevis saw Dex, he just had to comment, "Hey Dex, where's the party?" Dex was so busy that he was able to ignore Clevis, for the most part. The only time his face ever got red was when Clevis yelled, "Where'd you get that dress up?" Dex had to wonder if Clevis saw anything but the suit. Didn't he understand that the suit was just a way to let people know he was there to help? The sun glinted off of his emerald cape as Superdog raced to the rescue. There was a mouse he saved from a sewer. A purse snatched he tackled. He fixed his neighbor's sprinkler. He found a lost kitten, pulled a rat away from a live wire, tracked down a lost wallet, put out a trash fire, and organized a neighborhood cleanup day. It seemed that now, whenever anyone needed help, they turned to Dex, and Dex had never been happier. Late one evening, there was a banging at the door. When Dex answered, it seemed as if the whole neighborhood was yipping and yowling in a panic. "It's Clevis!" they shouted. "He's stuck in a tree! Hurry, Dex, hurry!" Dex raised his eyebrows. It was not like Clevis to move enough to get into any trouble. In a flash, he was dressed and ready. It was clearly a desperate situation. As he got closer, Dex could see Clevis. He had been chasing a squirrel to the top of the tree, but had slipped and was hanging by one claw from a slender branch. He was yowling for all he was worth. "I'm slipping!" Clevis screeched. "Help me!" Dex looked desperately around for something to climb on. There were no boxes or ladders, not even any trash cans. Then Dex looked at the crowd. "Quick, everybody!" Dex shouted. "I've got an idea!" Dex leaped onto the end of the teeter-totter facing the tree, pushing it to the ground. "Everybody on the other end! 1, 2, 3! All the animals jumped together on the other end of the teeter-totter, catapulting Dex into the air. He soared over the crowd, his ears and cape streaming out behind him. The mighty Dex flew up into the dark and starry night. Dex scrambled onto the branches next to Clevis. Quickly he pulled off his cape and tied it into 4 corners onto the screeching cat. "Jump!" Dex shouted. "Jump, Clevis!" With an ear-piercing shriek, Clevis let go. The billowing cape caught the air and parachuted the big cat to the ground. Dex backed up and slid to the ground amidst the cheers of the crowd. Super dog! Super dog! Dex was bruised and tired, but he forgot his discomfort as Clevis sheepishly lumbered over, still tangled in the green cape. Thanks, Dex. You really are a hero. Dex didn't think he could feel any better, but he did, just a little, the next day when Clevis settled up next to him and whispered, Say, Dex, could I be your partner? Dex looked the big tomcat up and down. It would take a lot of work to turn Clevis into a hero. He could hardly wait. Sure, said Dex with a grin. Sure. With twice the brains and triple the brawn, our heroes forged on, ever ready to lend a helping paw.
Okay, boys and girls, so I want you to think back to our essential question, and I'll show it to you again. It was, what makes someone a hero? So I want you to go ahead and try to answer that question, share it with an adult. What makes someone a hero? Then, if you want to do a little bit more with the story this week, we have 5 activities that you can pick from. You don't have to do all of these, but you can. So the first one is a reader's theater. Gather your whole family and practice reading parts of this reader theater. So you would click on this, and you could even make a video of your family doing this. That would be awesome. Activity 2 is technology. Use your iPad and the UDoodle app to make a comic strip. Take pictures of yourself in superhero poses and complete the tutorial. Add a cape and a mask, as well as some fun onomatopoeias like pow and zap and zoom. That would be way cool. Oh, kinesthetics. This means getting up and getting moving. Villain beanbag attack. Print out villain pictures, or, and this should be cut and paste them to soda cans and bottles. And I have some great artists in my room, so you could actually draw them. Oh, they would be better than any picture you could print off the internet. And then you take the bean bags and you try to knock them down. That one seems like a lot of fun. Activity 4 is your STEM. You can go kryptonite crystals. So cool. It should be stuff you already have at home. If not, skip that one. We don't want you going out and getting anything. So 1 part hot water, Epsom salt in a bowl, stir until they're well dissolved, and refrigerate, and then wait for some magic to happen. Oh, boy, these sound like a lot of fun. I might try these with my kiddos. And then coding. We love to code. Remember the robots, kiddos? Create a homemade coding game that you can play over and over again with any pieces. You can use superheroes, Legos, My Little Ponies, whatever you have. And then here's a little link you can click that will help you do that. So I hope you have so much fun today with our lesson. Seems like a lot of great activities. I love you so much and happy learning. Bye, boys and girls.